thanks everybody for joining this session. Today we are going to see about the Sitecore pipelines. You may be working in Sitecore from last multiple years. Maybe you are fresher. Maybe you have just started to do the scratching on the Sitecore side. So in all these stages, this Sitecore pipeline concept is going to helpful for you to deep dive into the Sitecore. So before understanding the Sitecore pipelines, let me quickly introduce myself. So my name is Surendra Sharma. I am Associate Director in Nagaro. I have more than 17 plus year of experience in Sitecore. And I am Sitecore certified, MongoDB certified, Microsoft certified. I'm a speaker in Sitecore User Conference India and also a part of lots of Sitecore groups. Till now, I have worked on more than 20 plus project on the Sitecore side. And apart from that, I have also published more than 8 ebooks on Sitecore. I'm running a blog website where I have published more than 200 blog articles just on the Sitecore side. And I have also developed 5 reusable modules available on Sitecore Marketplace. So that's pretty much about myself. So before understanding the Sitecore pipeline, let's try to understand what exactly is the pipeline in our general life. So you already know about the concept of the pipeline, but still let me explain it to you. So the best example here is the water pipeline. So our government agencies, they are collecting the water from rains and the rivers, and they are stored it into the dam. And as per the city needs, they are now giving this water to the different cities through these pipelines. So these pipelines will connected through the dam and they come into our cities, from our cities to our areas, from our areas to society, from our society to our buildings, and from our buildings to our home actually. And then we are using this water. So in all these places, this water come through these pipelines where each pipeline is connected with the another here. So the concept of this pipeline is picked up by the software industry, and they have started to they have created one pattern called the pipeline pattern. So idea here is that, let's suppose you have some source system. Okay, so maybe it's a producer or the source where you have some data. In this case, we may have water, and this water is going to be collected in some store. So you can say that this is our processor 1, or maybe it's a function 1. Then it's filtering it and then it giving its output to the another store, or maybe to another function. And in this way, finally we will get the water. Maybe you can say that it's a clean water which you are consuming, or in our software field, or in our computer, it may be a final data that we need it in our reports. So this is nothing but a chain of the functions where each function is connected with the another. So you can see these pipeline patterns in the different areas when you are working on your computer. One of the famous use of this pipeline design pattern is in your operating system, where you are using this pipeline character. So you can write one command here, and output of this command can be the input for the next command, and then it will process it. Again, it will produce some output. That output will become the input for the next command, and so on. So you can see here, this is nothing but again a one chain of the command. And even in Sitecore, or in your Windows operating system, you are using it in a PowerShell, where you can write your command here. For example, I want to get all the processes, and then I want to find it, the process where CPU are there, and from there I want to take the path, and whatever the items right now I have, I want to get their item, and I want to check where the app data is there, and then I will sort it, all this final list that I get it here. So in PowerShell, yeah, we are using the pipeline. If you are working on the Linux side, then you have the piping character. So you can use this command called concatenation with the files, and then you can connect it with the grep to do the operations on some string, and then you can display it through this t command, and finally you can get the total number of word count in each line. So it will give you that list here. So in Linux, in Windows, you see in your operating system, you are already using this pipeline patterns through this piping character or piping operator here. Now we understand it. What is pipeline in our general life? There is a pipeline pattern. There is a pipeline characters that we are already using it in operating system. But how to use it in programming? So in programming, again, you have some input data. Maybe this is the junk or raw data, and you want the final data, or the desired data that your system need. And from this journey, from input to output, you can write now series of the functions here, where each function will do some operation, where maybe this first function will remove the duplicate, the second function will remove the junk character, the third function maybe it will get only the particular columns that you need it, and so on. So in this way you can filter it out, where each function will do its own work, and the output of this will become the input for the next function here. So you can write a series of functions, and then you can create this pipeline, which is nothing but a continuous flow of the data here. Now, once you have that, then you can see this pipelines in different fields in our software industry. So, for example, you can use it in the data processing pipeline here. For example, you can write a pipeline which might involve a series of stages for transforming and analyzing data. So for example, you can have the data where you can do the data injection, data cleaning feature, you can do the extraction there, and you can write the machine learning models, and you can train it, and you can finally get the your result evaluated here. You can write the pipeline in the image processing side as well. So here, pipeline can be used to process images through various stages, like image resizing, noise reduction, color correction maybe, or the edge detection, and the image enhancement. Yeah, I am showing right now examples of pipelines. That's correct. You can write the pipelines for the web development. For example, you can use it for various tasks like asset compilation and optimization. For example, in our web development, we are doing the concatenation and minifying of the CSS and JavaScript files. We are optimizing the images and caching the assets. So all these are nothing but a series of the pipeline, which by implementing it, you can get the faster loading times for your assets. We are writing the CI/CD pipelines as well for our DevOps operations, where you can automate the process of building, testing, and deploying the code changes. So these pipeline may include stages like code compilation, unit testing, maybe integration testing, and finally you can deploy it to the production servers here. You can write it into the natural language processing pipelines as well. For example, you can have a pipeline that could be employed to process text data through the various stages, such as you can do the tokenization or the part of the speech tagging, or maybe entity recognition or sentimental analysis. So you can implement lots of things within the each pipeline here. Similarly, audio processing is also there, where you can have the audio files which you can decode it, you can reduce the noise, you can add the audio feature extractions, or maybe a speech to text, you can implement it, or maybe text to speech synthesis is also possible. So you can write these kind of different pipelines here. Maybe you can, if you are doing the video editing, in that case as well, you can write the pipelines where you can take the video files, you can clipping it, adding the special effects, or implementing the transitions, and do the audio synchronizations with the different softwares, and you can do the video rendering. So there are lots of fields where the pipelines are there, and you can implement these pipelines into each of the fields. Now we understand it. What is pipeline in our general life? What is pipeline pattern, how we are using it in our operating system, how to use it in our programming, and the different fields that are available in the software side. But what about the Sitecore? So in Sitecore as well, you can implement the pipelines. So for example, I have this pipelines here, which is nothing but a sequence of processor. It's nothing but a series of processors. So I have 3 processors here: processor A, processor B, and processor C, and each processor will do some functionality here. You can write some code here, and you can then execute it. So how to write these processors? So implementing the processors is super easy. You just need to create a C# class. You have to implement a method called process. Its name must be process. It take a single argument, and it will return void. So it's not going to return anything. I got the message that my screen is not updating. Is it the case for everybody?
I think
Right now,
it's working for me. I see the Sitecore pipeline and processor with the flowchart.
yeah,
Is anyone
that's
else?
correct.
Is anyone else facing the
Yes,
issue?
Sangeeta is facing issue, I think. He just message.
Yeah, just
Yeah, Sangeeta, maybe you can rejoin it.
yeah, she's gonna rejoin. She's messaged. You can continue, I guess. I think
All
everyone
right,
else is okay,
thanks.
right?
Yeah. So within the Sitecore, as I said, you can write the process pipelines, and within the pipeline, you can add the different processors here. And each processor is nothing but one method called name process. It will take a single argument, which is nothing but from the type of pipeline argument. And inside it, you can write your logics here. So within the Sitecore, you can, if you want to see the pipelines, then you can go to your Sitecore side, and you can open your show configs, and here you will get the pipelines tags here. So inside it, you will get lots of pipelines. So you have the initialization pipeline, the shutdown pipeline. So you have lots of pipelines, and you can see it here. Now, as I said, let me give you some example on the pipelines that are exist in Sitecore. So initialization pipeline is there. So whenever your Sitecore is started, so it will initialize itself by allocating some memory. It will cache some items. It will run few background operations there. So during the initialization process, this initialization pipeline is going to be executed. So you can see this pipeline here, this initialization pipeline, where you will see lots of processors, and all these processors are actually run sequentially. So it will first run this processor, then second, then third, then fourth, and so on. So all these are going to be executed in a sequential order. Similarly, you have the HTTP pipeline. So whenever you try to request any page or maybe an item into the Sitecore, so this request will be go through this HTTP pipeline, and then finally it will give you the final output here. So if you go there, you will see this HTTP request begin pipeline, where you have the lots of processors here. So it will run all these processors, and finally it will give you the output. Similarly, you have the publish pipeline. So whenever you have added or you have done some CRUD operations on your Sitecore items, and now you want it to be available on your CD or maybe on your web database, then you have to publish it. So there are different methods or options you will get it publishing, but at the end, it's a publish pipeline which will copy your or sync your items from master database to the web database. So these are the few examples that within the Sitecores through the pipeline you can have. Now, as I said, within the Sitecore pipelines are nothing but the processor. So you can see here, all these are nothing but the processor. How to create the processor? As I said, you have to just create one class. So for example, they have created one class called check ignore flag, and inside it, they have write one method called the process. So whenever you implement it, yeah, you are creating a one process, and you have to add it into the configuration file. Now, let me give you some demo on the pipelines or how to create the pipelines here. So the first one is the HTTP request processor. So let's suppose our requirement is that, all right, oh, I can remove it. Yeah. So for example, I have my Sitecore and I have a few pages here, and my requirement is that if I'm trying to access any page here, for example, I'm trying to access this page here, this test page. So I'm getting here test 3, 4. So this I'm getting it through my Sitecore. So this is my test item, and inside it I have my title and I have some description here. So test 3, 4, yeah, I'm getting my output here. Now my requirement is that if somebody type the wrong URL, for example, test this, I'm typing this number, so this item is not available. So I don't want to get the error which Sitecore shows, the system defined error. So I don't want to show it. I want to show the user defined page. So you can see here right now I'm trying to access it and I'm getting this 404 page. And for this I have write the pipeline. So how to do that? So for that you can go to your Visual Studio, and you can open your Solution Explorer, add here one file. So for example, I have added here one file here, and my class name is HTTP request processor. Its name can be anything, and it have one process method, and you can see here it return void, and it's taking one argument here. Okay, and inside it you have to write your logic. So I have write the logic that if Sitecore context item is not null, it means if Sitecore is able to resolve it, then yeah, return it. If it's unable to resolve, then I'm providing one item here, ID of an item, which I want to be act as a 404. So I have this 404 item that I have created. So I can get this ID, and then I can get this item here through the Sitecore databases, and then finally I can set this this item as my processor item or my context item, and then I'm returning the status code as a 404. So if Sitecore is unable to resolve it, it will show this item to my users here. Now, once you created this you write this class and you write this method, then you have to add it into the configuration file. So for me, I have created one configuration file here. So for example, my configuration file is available in this one. So you can go to the configuration, go to the Sitecore, add the pipelines. Inside the pipeline, I have the HTTP request begin, and then you can write your processor. So to write the processors, you have to provide its type. So where within the type, you have to provide the complete path here. So this one is my namespace. So if I go there, so you can see here this lxsrch.pipeline. This is nothing but the namespace, and then you have the class. So yeah, this is my class, and this one is nothing but your name of your assembly or name of your project. So lxsrch is my name of the project. And then you have to also give the indication to Sitecore that when this need to be executed. So you have to say that maybe I want to execute it after this line here. So after this line, Sitecore will inject it. So if you go to this pipeline side here, and if you try to search it, so you see here, this is my Sitecore item resolver pipeline, and after that I have added one processor. So you see here lxsrch, this pipeline is, or this processor is injected here. So that's how you can create a pipeline here, a very simple pipeline to handling the page not found implementation, which generally we need it in every website. The second example is the item processor. So for example, if I go there and I have this pipeline here, item processor, what it will do, whenever you try to publish anything. So I want to maintain a log here that what items are my content authors or the editors have published. So I can write this kind of pipeline where I have the process method, and inside it I can write the logic that whatever the items are there for in the publishing side. So I can get those items and I can maintain a log of all these items. So now if I go there in Sitecore, and if I do the changes here, maybe I will go there and I can do some changes here, and I can save it. And finally I can go there and I can say, yeah, publish this item. So it will go there and publish these items. And once it is published, the publishing is completed, it will execute and it will record everything into the log files. So if you go there, so yeah, my log files is actually modified, and if you go there, so it will show you that yeah, my items are published. So maybe these are something old one, but yeah, it have, you see here, the my published item is published here. The test item is published here. It's 6:22. So that's what my system time is, 6:23. I mean, 1 minute ahead. So that's fine. I mean, but yeah, our log is maintained here, and this is give you the good way that how to log any messages or any item that are published right now. So we have created this. Processor, and now we have to also record, or I have to add it into our Sitecore pipeline. So here, right now, I am using publish pipelines, and inside it, I am maintaining it here. That this is my processor, which I just added right now. So in this way, you can add a publish processor here. Okay. The next one is the logging pipeline. For example, I want to log whatever is going into the site, or I want to just log it. Okay. So within this HTTP request begin pipeline, whatever is going through, I just want to log it. So for that, maybe what you can do, you can go there and you can create a one. You can create a one class. For example, I have created a one log request begin class, and I have write a process, and whatever I am getting it here, I want to just record it. Okay. I want to just record it as a log. So once you created it, then again you can go to your config file, and this time you can add it, and I have added it here as a processor. Now difference here is that within this processor and within this process, that I have not mentioned here to this process that where to add it or when to exactly execute it. So what Sitecore will do right now? So Sitecore will, so within the first example, it will always add your processor after this processor. But inside this one, for this processor, what if you are not specifying anything, any options here? So what Sitecore will do? It will go there into the Sitecore, and it will add it at the last here. So you can see here, wherever your HTTP request begin pipeline is ending, at the last, it will automatically add your processor here. So it will execute your processor at the last if you are not specifying when exactly or where exactly you need to add it. Okay. So that's another option that you have while working with the Sitecore pipelines or processors here. The next example is the custom field processor. So right now we are adding everything on the request and the item level, but how about the field level? So for example, my requirement is that whenever user added something inside this, maybe inside this rich text, so at pipeline level, I want to inject something here, maybe a copyright. I want to show some copyright logo there, or maybe a copyright text there. So I want to show there, but not into the content on the CM side, but on my CD side, or to my actually the web database. So you can see here, this is the description for 404, but I'm also getting this copyright text here. So you don't need to go in every rich text in the Sitecore. You just need to maintain there your data that you want to show. This copyright Alexa will automatically attach by the pipeline. So how to do that? So for that, maybe you can write again one pipeline. So you can, I have created one processor. Again, I'm writing one process method, and here I am checking whatever the rendering fields I am getting it. If that field is of the type of rich text, okay, then add this text. Okay, add this text here, copyright Alexa. So you have to specify it into your config file as well. So you can go there, and you can have the rendering field pipelines, and inside it you can add your the pipelines there. That yeah, this is my pipeline which I want to execute it for every field for that have the type of rich text. So for every rich text field, yeah, you will get this copyright message there. Okay. Another example can be for the media file. So for example, whenever you are uploading anything inside the Sitecore. Now the problem here is that if you go to the Sitecore media library, uh, you have one field there. So the field name is alt. So you can see here it's showing the red strip here. It means that it's good to have its data if you are not providing anything. So what Sitecore will give? Sitecore will give you the warning. This is a warning, not the error. Okay. So it will show you the warning. So it say that there are some fields where it will be nice to have some data there. If you are clicking on the OK, so Sitecore will just ignore it, but it's good to provide this data here. Okay. For example, I'm providing some data and you see here that red strip is gone. Okay. So what my requirement is that whenever my content author is there, whenever they are uploading any files inside the Sitecore, so this text, okay, this alternate text, it should be by default set by the system itself, so that we can avoid this kind of processor. So you can see here, if I go there and you see alt text is already there right now. So you can write a pipeline for this as well. So how to write the pipeline for this? So you can go to the Sitecore and you can write the again, you have to write a process method inside it. You have to get the argument that I want the media creator type of argument, and inside it then you need to check if whatever the file name or whatever the item name it have, so that item name I want to set it with my alternate text as well. So that's what I'm getting here, that whatever the path I'm getting it, the complete path, out of that I'm getting the last slash, and after that whatever the string I'm getting, I'm getting that string, returning that string, and you see here it's returning the string, and set it into the alternate text. So within the path here, whatever the path I got it here, so it will truncate it, and finally it will get this name, and that's what I am showing it or applying it into the alt text. So this kind of process or implementing the pipeline will save your time, and by default your users will follow the best practices that are specifying by the Sitecore. The last example here is I have one more example here. So this custom pipeline processors here. So for example, or let me explain it in a while. So right now, whatever the pipelines we have saw, all these are actually called by the Sitecore itself, or at the runtime Sitecore will call it. But do we have any control on this where I can call it manually? Okay. So if you have that kind of requirement, that where you think that whenever I want, it should be executed at that time. So, or in other way, I want to call it manually. So in that case, you have to use this option called core pipeline.run here. Okay. So you can use this. You can use this single line of command, and you can call your pipelines whenever you want, in whichever component you want. Okay. How to use it? So let's go there and see this. So for this, I have created this pipeline here. Again, the same class. You have to write the process. I have specified some argument. Now this argument, I have created it from myself. So I have created one class from the pipeline argument, and I have specified the one string parameter there. And this class, the argument class, I'm passing it here. And here I'm just typing one log that my custom pipeline processor, and whatever the argument I'm passing it here, and within that the custom value, whatever the string is there, just print it. That's what I am writing it here. That is pretty much easy and simple class for the demo. Now you have to add it into your config file. So let's see how to add it into the config file here. So right now, these are the whatever the pipelines we have saw, these are the built-in pipelines that Sitecore is specifying. But here I'm creating my own pipeline, my custom pipeline, and inside that I'm adding my processor. So what is my processor? Again, your class name. So my custom pipeline processor here. So this is my custom pipeline processor. I have created a custom pipeline and the custom processor here. Now, how to call it? So for that, I have created this footer.cs.html. And if you want to call that pipeline or that processor, so you just need to create the class of the argument. So for example, we have created this class because we have to pass this string here, the custom value, what you want to pass. So for that, I have created this class here, and I'm passing the value, and I'm getting that class object here. And then I'm writing this Sitecore pipelines dot core pipeline dot run. So you see here core pipeline dot run, and then type your pipeline name here. So what is my pipeline name here? So my pipeline name is my custom pipeline. So pass this value here and your argument. So now whenever you are calling this footer.cs.html, so for example, I go there, and on this page, on this test page, I have this footer component here. So whenever this footer component will render, it will call your pipeline as well. Okay? It will call your pipeline as well. And what we have write it in pipeline, that just log this record with whatever the value we are passing. So what value we are passing? We are passing hello world. So now you can go there, and you can check it in your log files. You should get here some output here. So you see here at 6:33, my time is 6:34. So it say that my custom pipeline processor called hello world. So yeah, we are getting some output there, and whatever the string we have passed it through our footer component, it's recorded here inside the pipeline here. Okay, so that's how you can manually, or you can programmatically call your pipelines in your components as well in your rendering, and whenever you want, you can write it. So that's how you can call the pipeline in a manual way. Now the other option is that when exactly I have to use it, because it's very unusual to call it. So whenever you want to write the custom business logic, so let's suppose if you have a custom business logic that need to be executed as a part of Sitecore pipeline. So in that case, you can create a new pipeline, and then you can call it through this core pipeline dot run. So let's suppose if you need to modify the behavior of an existing Sitecore pipeline, in that case as well, you can add your own processor to the pipeline, and then you can call it in a manual way. The third option is very obvious, that if you need to trigger a pipeline programmatically, then you just you want to call it on some user action. Maybe let's suppose there is a button click. On that button click, now you want to call this pipeline. Then of course you can use these options. And yeah, if you need to integrate Sitecore with third-party systems where you need to require some custom processing, in that case as well, you can write this pipeline, and then you can call it through this core pipeline dot run, and to execute the actual logic. So in that case as well, you can use this core pipeline dot run. Now, whenever you are writing the pipeline, the another thing is that how to monitor it actually, that what pipelines is running right now. So there are three ways that you can use it. One is the log files, which is very obvious that whatever we are using it in Sitecore, we are always referring this log. So you can go there, and then you can check your logs there and see if you are getting some useful log here or not, for which you have write it into the pipeline. So log is one of the obvious way. The second one is the debug. You can, if you are in the development environment, then of course you can debug it. So how to debug it? So it's usually you are just attaching the debugger. So just select your line which you want to debug, and then you can go there and you can just write it here. I'm getting these options here. Yeah. So you can go there, and here you will get this debug, and you can say attach to process, and here you have to find the worker process here. So go there and find your worker process, and whatever the Sitecore instance you have, just double click on it, and then you can attach. Now whenever you are you are trying to run anything, so it will hit the debugger. So you see here it hit the debugger right now, and we should get our items here. So you see here we are getting the 404 item right now, and it's coming through the web database. So that's how you can debug it as well. But it's only applicable for the development environment. How about the production? How I can check it? So in that case, log files is the one obvious answer. Second is the pipeline profiler. Now, what is this pipeline profiler? So if you go to the Sitecore environment again, for example, I will go there, and here, if you go to the control panel, here you will get the administration tools, and if you click on this administration tools, you will get one option here called the pipeline profiler here. And if you click on this pipeline profiler, you will get this pipeline profiler where it will show all the pipelines that are running right now into the Sitecore environment. Okay, so you can go there and you can type your pipelines here. That where is my pipeline? So you can see here right now I'm getting my Alexa search pipeline, the HTTP request 404. Right now it's and you will see a few numbers here. Now, how to understand this number? So for that, you will get this column names here. That the first column is the hash execution, that how many times it executed it here right now. And the wall time will show you the total number of till it executed 89 time, and for this executing for 89 time, how much time it consumes till now as a processing time. So that you can check it here into the wall time. And the last one is the average execution time. So when you divide wall time by this hash execution, you'll get this number. So if you are getting confused with this legend, that what it means, so you can go to the at the last, and you will get this legends here, and you can read that what this execution means. So it say that it's a total number of execution of the pipeline. Okay, what is this time execution? It's the average time taken by the single execution of the pipeline and processor. So you can use this profiler here, and then you can see how much time your processors or the pipeline is taking right now. So this one, the gray row, it is the total of it's the total of all these processors. So this is your pipeline, and these are your processor. So gray mean whatever the numbers you are getting it here, these are the total of these entries, the processor's entry. And if you want to see the individual processor, then yeah, you have to refer that particular line here. Okay. So through this, you can also check how your processors or pipelines are performing. If this average number of time is very high, then you need to be fine tune it, or you need to check the alternative solution, because the high number means it's a performance overhead at the runtime. Okay. So that's how you can use this pipeline profiler. By default, this page is you cannot access this page. You have to enable it. So you have to make its entry into web.config file, and you have to enable it as well from your admin folder into the Sitecore. Now, yeah, we saw this pipeline profilers, and I generally use it if we are writing the pipelines, because it's very hard to see what are the different pipelines write by the developers. But from the single page, we can see, at least within our project, whatever the pipelines they have write, because they always start with the namespace with your project name. So that will be helpful. You can filter it out, that all that pipelines or processor, you can search it from here as well. Now, whenever you are working with the pipelines, there are few best practices that you need to be follow. So, for example, instead of writing your own pipelines, you should always use the built-in processors or the pipelines that are provided by Sitecore. So don't try to create your own pipelines unless it's not necessary. Whenever possible, try to use built-in. Plan your pipelines carefully because to ensure that if processes are executed in the correct order or not, and they should not conflict with each other. So we need to be very careful while writing the pipelines. Um, there is a one there is a one principle in our software field that's called KISS principle. It simply means that keep it simple. So the same rule is apply on the pipelines as well. So keep your pipeline simple by breaking it down into the small and reusable processors. Whenever you are using pipelines, there are lots of advantages that you will get. The first one is its flexibility, because Sitecore pipelines provide a flexible way to add, remove, or modify the functionality at different stages of processor. So that's why this allow you for the high level of customization, and that's why people like the Sitecore, because uh, it's not the closed solution. It's very flexible, very open. You can just inject whatever the operations you want it along with the Sitecore operations. So it's very flexible, super flexible. Reusability, because since pipelines are modular, so they can be reused it in different contexts, which help you to making your development faster and more efficient. Maintainability, because right now we are writing the pipelines in the processor, so we are separating the code into smaller and more manageable pieces, which makes it easier to maintain and the debug actually. And the extensibility, because pipeline can be extended with new processors to meet the changing business requirements. So it's super extensible in our way. So these are the few advantages that you will get it with the Sitecore pipelines. But at the same time, there are few disadvantages as well here. So you need to keep it in mind. First is the overhead, because pipeline, if you are adding it, it may be overhead for the processing time, especially if there are many processors involved here. Complexity, because understanding the Sitecore pipeline model and how to work with it can be complex and require some good level of experience. You cannot just give it to the junior in Sitecore developers, which are very new here, and you can't say him to that just write the pipeline. No, that's not a good way to deal with the pipelines. Performance. So yeah, while pipeline can be used to optimize the performance, if you not implement it carefully, they can have the negative impact on the performance of your website, and it's very hard to catch it till the time you will not use this profiler kind of tools. Debugging, as I said, if you are in the development environment, then yes, you have the option to debug it. But how about the on the production environment or maybe on staging environment? There, it's really a challenge to see what's going on inside the pipeline at the runtime. So that's why it's very complex while implementing the pipeline and to debug it. Now we have saw that Sitecore is good with the pipelines. It's and it's like very promising technique, but there are few times when you should know that when not to use the Sitecore pipelines. Everywhere you will see that when to use it, how to use it, but nobody will tell you that when not to use the Sitecore pipelines. So the for example, if you have to implement a very simple or straightforward task, in that case, it may not require to use the pipelines. For example, if you just need to update a single item, you could do it directly without creating a pipelines. So for the simple things, don't write the pipelines. Performance critical tasks. So while Sitecore pipelines are very flexible and powerful, they do have some overhead associated with them. If you have tasks that need to be performed as quickly as possible, using a pipeline may add too much overhead and it may slow things down there. So for the performance related tasks, yeah, try to avoid it. This third point, tight coupling between components. So if your components within your application are tightly coupled, which are actually sometimes, it may not to make sense to use the pipeline, because pipeline are designed to loosely coupled component. And so if there is already a tight coupling between the component, adding a pipeline may just add unnecessary complexity there. So try to avoid it to implement the pipeline for the tight coupling components. Inflexible requirement. It means if the requirement for a task are very rigid and not likely to change, it may not make sense to use the pipelines, because pipelines are designed to be very flexible and adaptable. So if the requirement are unlikely to change, you may not need to that level of flexibility. So don't use or don't write pipelines for inflexible requirements. So yeah, these are the things that I want to discuss it today with the Sitecore pipelines. So thank you for the Sitecore User Group Bangalore for giving me the opportunity, and thank you for listening me here. If you have any question, if you have any doubt or suggestion, yeah, we can discuss it. Otherwise, we are good for today.